I'm sorry, in the insurance meeting. Calling this meeting to order. I have my two committee members, Lady Monroe Cooper and Ms. Jennifer Hainline. Today, July 28th, today is July 13th, but first thing we want to do is have the adoption of the agenda.
So moved. Second.
Okay, thank you. The agenda has been moved for acceptance. And second, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, ayes have it. Next, item number 3, approval of minutes from July 28th, 2020.
I move we approve minutes. I second.
Motion has been made and second. Is there any unreadiness? If not, all in favor say aye.
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 Those opposed, ayes have it. Number 4, we're going to talk about some new business. The fiscal year 2021 district insurance coverage. I did attended a meeting with Dr. Vadreen and Devonna Howard, and they did lay out the proposed plan, and so they're bringing it now forward to the committee, and we're going to allow them to do a presentation so I can let my fellow board members discuss it. It's Arthur J. Gallagher Risk Management Services Incorporated. You have someone to present?
This is Kevin Woods from Gallagher across the street. They're our agent for goes out and contract policies for us.
Go ahead.
Thank you, Rick, appreciate it. And I don't know, does everybody have this in front of them? Okay, so this is essentially a insurance summary that we do every year. It breaks down coverages from last year that are expiring. And the right-hand column is after choices are made and things are reviewed and looked at. So to have a side-by-side comparison, okay? So essentially everything remains the same for anything below the property piece. So we've got auto damage, excess workers' comp, no changes in terms, conditions, or anything like that. Executive package, which is your crime and your cyber. General liability, no change in limit or self-insured retention there. And going over, you got your educated legal liability, same, no change. Auto liability, same limit, same self-insured retention. I will note here that during the board meeting, we'll do a vote to reject the uninsured mothers, like we do every year. That's required by state law. Then we've got the terrorism liability policy. Again, no change in limit or deductible or retention. And then we also have the student accident policy and the violent assailant policy. Both of these policies actually renew on August 1st. But as you see, there's no change in terms, conditions, premiums, everything remains exactly the same on those. So if you will, let's go back to the property piece, and this is the piece that we have issues with. And I'd like to introduce Austin Dougherty. So Austin is from Monroe. He lives in Dallas now. He's a product of Monroe City School Board. And he is now our underwriter from Dallas and work for a company called CRC. So I thought it'd be nice for him to meet everyone. He's been on the policy now for about 40 years. And he represents a plethora of different companies. And because Monroe City is a lot of concentration of rooftops and a small amount of area, there's no standard company. So there's no, you can't get coverage from State Farm or Farm Bureau or even Travelers or some of these others that are standard companies. So we have to go to what's called the excess and surplus lines market. And so when you do that, you have to use a wholesaler. Well, Austin represents a wholesaler. And so he went out to the marketplace and we did how many markets did we approach, Austin? Somewhere in the neighborhood of around 40-ish, 40 different companies. And we ended up having to put a program together that is layered. And what I mean by layered, In the past, you had one company insure the entire property program. Well, this year, we have a combination of, how many carriers? 10 different carriers to give us the same limit, but the premium is much higher. So the deductible, there were some changes there. We have 100,000 all peril deductible, including named storm, with the exception of a 2% wind hail, up to a $250,000 per location minimum. And you can see the premium there, $789, $751.50, compared to $404, $127, which is a substantial increase. The options were over on page 3. There were actually much more options, but these were the options that we considered. We talked to Rick, Dr. String, Devonna. We had a long discussion about these options. Essentially, option 1 is the one that they chose. Option 2 is a lower limit. So currently, we insure 292 million in limit. So we did an assessment, a probable maximum loss assessment. Essentially, what we did is we looked at it from a million different ways. If a hurricane or a tornado came through this area, what's the maximum damage that could be done? And when we did that study, it showed a 1 in 10,000 was up around $100 million. But
What
they
would be
said
1 in 10,000?
1 in 10,000 was the chance of that $100 million loss. But I don't think anybody was comfortable reducing the limits to 100 million versus the full limits. If we had $150 million loss, and then we only have $100 million in coverage, then we're eating a $50 million loss. I say we, I mean Monroe School Board. So for the additional premium, it was a savings of about $120,000 to reduce that limit. So nobody in the room felt that was worth it.
Why don't we have anything between 300 million and 100? Why is there no 150, no 2, no 250?
But we could definitely look at those options, but again, you would only be looking at a savings of $50,000 to $60,000 in premium and giving up potentially $100 to $150 million in limits.
But you're saying that we have a 1 in 10,000 chance of something going over 100 million, but we're going to double our premium based on a 1 in 10,000 chance.
But we're not necessarily doubling it. We're adding an additional 192 million in coverage for that additional. So even if we reduced it to 100,000, our premium would still be 626. See that option 2 down there is the highlighted option. So we're getting a major increase regardless.
Is there a mistake on what I'm looking at under increased cost of construction coverage?
Yep.
So for current, we only have 500,000, but all the new ones were getting 5 million.
Yep.
Why the change in
That's
this?
correct. That's just a change in terms and conditions by here. We're just taking advantage of that.
Okay, thank you. I'm sorry.
No problem, no problem. And then option 3, we looked at even a lower limit, at $50 million limit. And that there again, the savings was another 50,000 or so. We looked at some different deductible options, and increasing the deductible to 5% versus 2%. Wasn't much of a credit, $12,250 of credit there. So again, nobody thought that was a good recommendation to make. And then we also looked at potentially a deductible buy down to get that 2% down back to the 100,000 that it was at previously. And that was an additional premium of $345,000. So again, it didn't make sense to go that route as well.
Is the difference between option 1 and 2 tax and fees? I'm confused as to why lower coverage has greater taxes and fees.
That could be a typo there. It would not be, because the taxes and fees are set by the state, so it's a percentage, 4.85% or something like that.
Okay,
So that could be just a typo there.
Actually, Kevin, I can kind of speak to that a little bit because
Okay.
basically this option one, we were estimating what the taxes and fees were going to be. And so when we actually, received the quotes, then it contained the accurate taxes and fees, which were just a little bit different than what we were estimating.
so what's the actual then?
So the option one figures, that is actually what the taxes and fees are going to be for that option. If we actually did bind coverage for options 2 or 3, those figures might have changed just a little bit. But it's all in the taxes and fees.
We were estimating because we were having to change carriers and things like that. So option 2 and option 3, there would have been some, a little bit different change, a little bit different premium, a little bit different tax, had we have gone forward with buying those coverages. Any questions?
Yes, board members have any questions?
Dr. Madrine, you and Ms. Howard tell us why you really felt option 1 was most appropriate.
Because I would hate to be that one to say I saved $50,000 and we out $50 million. That's basically, we had the discussion and we all looked at each other in that meeting and said, for $50,000, we're gonna get the coverage that it takes to cover us for $50,000 more, in a sense. That's how we looked at it.
Let me say, I did look at Ms. Howard, and as our CFO, I asked her what option she felt was best, and that's the one she chose.
Okay, thank you.
We all had the same consensus agreement. We all looked at each other shaking our heads saying, I don't want to be that person.
This construction thing is really perplexing me, and is that a reflection on COVID-19 and everything is skyrocketed right now at this moment?
It's a reflection of the market itself.
Okay.
2020 to 2021 has been horrible for the property market.
Increase. Wow.
But, and it doesn't make it feel any better, but Monroe City School Board has really dodged the bullet for the last several years because the other school boards in the state, they got this hit about 2 years ago. So we've really been, and I've got to give some credit to Austin, he's done a great job, working this with Zurich, keeping them on it. Last year was a fight, but they agreed last minute. So we knew coming into this year, possibly going to be a bad situation. And it is. But it's a combination of things, wildfires, you got tornadoes, you got hurricanes, you got snowpocalypses, you got COVID, you've got, and there's a lot of different things that are affecting it, and it's, hopefully there's some end in sight. And I think there is, we write probably more school boards in the country than anybody, any other road. And we're seeing a pinnacle being reached, that makes sense. So the last probably 2.5 years, it's been almost a straight climb in what we're seeing. Rates, terms and conditions actually going down, premiums just going through the roof. But now it's starting to level off. So that is good news. We just need a good year. I'm not going because, so far so good. We've had a couple of hurricanes out in the Gulf, nothing major. So let's just hope and pray that we have a good year this year. COVID behind us, move on.
So do you have any questions? Anyone from the audience have any questions? If not,
I move that we bring option 1 to the full board for approval minus the uninsured motorist coverage.
I second that motion.
motion has been made and second to bring this item to the full board minus the uninsured motorist coverage. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, ayes have it. Thank you. All right, next item on the agenda, I asked Dr. Madrine if he could put this on the agenda. Main issue was, I had numerous calls from parents who you know, for whatever reason, you know, they were issued Chromebooks and students' Chromebooks were damaged and the parents had to pay, you know, $200, whatever the fee was. And so, I asked Dr. Madrid if he could look into, coming up with some type of insurance plan. And, he put something together. I'll let him talk about it.
Well, the Chromebooks, students take home now, they have them. Chromebooks cost about $166 each, and there's a $25 cost that we have to put into for the program, and we pay to upgrade the machine where it fits our system. So it brings the total, like I said, about $188 for that, or $183. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna offer to our parents an insurance program that covers the device for $30. They'll pay us $30 upfront. You have the form in front of you?
No, I saw it online earlier
Oh.
though.
Okay. Thought y'all had all those.
They're on board docs.
On board docs.
They are on board docs.
Well, and all we do is the parent have the option to select it for $30. If they break if Chromebook breaks or something, if we give them a brand new one, right there on the spot, we cover it for them. If it's lost or stolen, we'll ask that they fill out a police report, show us the police report to prove that it was lost or stolen, then we give you a second on that one. And then also an option that you elect not to participate in the program. So a parent that chooses not to participate, they'll be held liable for the $166 cost in that. But for $30, they'll get the insurance cover program, and that way the parent, so it's $30. It's at each individual school in our district, for each individual school.
Is that just for take-home Chromebooks?
Yes, take home from, not the one that stays at school. It's the one to take home and check out to them.
I'm wondering how much could our fund for student supplies, instructional supplies go towards offset this cost for our parents? Is there anything we can do in that regard?
For supplies, our students, I think elementary gets, I think it's $21 per student a year for their supplies. And then it comes out of two sales taxes, 94 and 01. One is, I think the high school kids get $35, the junior high kids 28. How many are principals? 28. Elementary's 21, junior high is 28, high school's 35. In one sales tax. And then in the other sales tax, I think it's maybe $13 per student across the board. And most, that one right there pays most of the copy of paper and things of that nature right there. But those dollars are not in there. We cover most of it, you know, through our MIS budget. That's how computers are purchased.
I have a couple questions if you're ready to speak.
Yes.
Okay, so when we give a Chromebook to a student, do we give them anything protective to transport it home and back?
No,
Are they expected to bring it to and from at all?
no.
Okay. And then how are our Chromebooks funded
Through our
in the
budget,
first
our
place?
MIS budget, through our general fund budget, through our sales tax budget.
Okay, I thought we had some donations for that. So perhaps, just speaking to my fellow board members, we need to speak to our legislators about how much our state is contributing for school supplies, because times have changed a bit. Since I believe that legislation was passed, and, you know, that is an expense for folks. I think $30 is still gonna cost us a lot out of pocket to fix. That helps give people incentive to look after it a little bit better. So I think it makes sense that we offer them something to help make it known that they need to be responsible for it. Yeah, and I mean, I guess the students always have the option too of not even taking it from home, correct?
Correct.
Okay. All right, that makes sense. I think it was a good suggestion to do this.
We basically have three options. They can purchase the $30, they can take the Chromebook on their own, or they can not take it home. Their options.
Yeah, you kind of I'm gonna piggyback on what you were saying. They were asking like, okay, if I don't have this book and I don't have this $30, but now that you told me they don't have to take it home, if they don't want to take it home. And they're not going to be penalized for it. And my next question was,
Most of them have this.
yeah. But, and like Ms. Cooper said, is there any way that perhaps if we have a parent that is really indigent and cannot, they want their child to participate and do all that, but they just really, and I know it's a little far-fetched, but there will be one or two who cannot pay, but they want their child to have everything. Is there any way that we could perhaps make something available to them? You know, you don't have to advertise it so everybody.
We don't advertise that, but we
Okay.
do. We take care of them. I'll tell you, all three of our principals back, four of our principals back there will shake their head saying, they're gonna take care of what's necessary with them. They know our parents and they say, okay, we got you right here. And you'd be amazed at our parents. I continue to talk about parent participation, what we have. We have tremendous parent participation. I always talk about it's the 5%, but our parents are good folks, good parents, and they will do what's necessary for the most part. Again, we always have those outliers that
Yeah,
we talk about and hear about, we make news about. For the most part, our parents will do whatever necessary for their kids.
This was probably answered on the document, but I didn't remember thinking this when I was looking at it. If I return the Chromebook at the end of the year and have damage, should I get $30 back?
No,
What are we doing with that $30?
that's part of the cost of repairing all of them that we're gonna have, because we're gonna self-insure it. This is not an insurance company that's coming in to insure. We went out and brokered some costs, and they wanted $65 and $70 per computer. So we're going to, our MIS is gonna take on the task of trying to fix most of them that we can, and just try to break even with the cost. We don't expect to make any money. This will be a losing money proposition for us.
Any more questions from the audience? Dr. Madrine, can I ask you, with the COVID money, is it possible that we can purchase some, take-home covers or some cases? I don't really know how much they cost.
Yeah, we're looking, we've done a lot of that in a lot of places, and we're still in the process of doing that.
So I make a motion that we approve the student device damage coverage program and put it to the larger board for a vote. Is that something we do need to vote on?
Yes.
Okay, for a vote.
I'll second that motion.
No,
I don't think so.
I don't think so.
I don't
We'll
think.
vote on it anyway, just for fun.
Yeah, I don't think that we have to bring to the full board because it's parent chooses, if they choose, if they don't choose, they don't choose. It's just something we bring to our parents, give an option for it.
excuse me, how will the parents know that they have this available to them
From the
now?
schools, it'll be on our website, and then we're gonna talk to all the principals, the principal meeting, give it to all the schools will give it out to the parents, they'll know that way. And we can always send it to them on the Remind app, which
Yeah.
they don't read.
Perhaps then at our board meeting, instead of bringing it to the board for a vote, we could ask the Dr. Madrine to announce this
I will.
program.
I'll do that in the board notes, superintendent notes.
So there's no motion.
No motion, I would remove that motion.
All right. Well, I thank you all for coming.
Wait a minute,
Oh, yes, ma'am.
please. Dr. Madrine, we have a new
They're here, John.
Fred. We have a new Fred, right?
Yes, Aaron from Cleveland,
Right, and so
been here a year
our,
and a half.
yeah, but we have not met because of COVID and stuff with the insurance committee.
Okay.
Is there any way we could get that on the agenda, or how do we?
I will get with Eric and ask him.
Okay, how do we do that? Because I know because of COVID, the employee component of the insurance committee has not met in that length of time since she's been here. So I just wonder what's the
All right.
protocol, or how do we do that?
I will find out, but I'm not on that committee.
I don't know.
No, I'm not committee.
But I'm the chair, so we need to work this out, okay?
Can my issue out? I'll get it for
I
you.
make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second the motion.
All right, motion's been made, and second to adjourn. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, ayes have it. Meeting adjourned, let's see, 6 o'clock.
No.
No, we have no principal
Oh,
presentation.